Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense. We know it works. In my opinion, here are the top 5 components of Jiu-Jitsu that translate directly into self-defense. And if you are training Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense purposes, then these are the 5 areas that you need to focus on the most. Number 1, the most important aspect of this is grip fighting. Now, in Jiu-Jitsu, every match, every round starts with clapping hands, the fist bump, and we go and immediately we're hand fighting, right? How does this translate directly into self-defense? Well, in a fighting environment, let's exclude striking for the moment. If at any point this person gets their hands on me, or if I'm caught off guard and they grab me, or if they have a weapon and they start reaching for it, or I have a weapon and they start reaching for it, guess what? We're grip fighting. And if I want to dominate in a grappling-based fight, I have to be able to control and dominate the grip. So in simple terms, right, if I'm able to maintain control of both of Cash's wrists or his arms, right, if I go bicep tie or wrist, doesn't matter, I need to be able to manipulate and control where his grips are going so that I can set up what I'm doing, right? If we were talking sport, I can use this to set up obviously takedown, single legs, arm drags, all that stuff. If we're talking for self-defense, I can start getting heavy on his hands, I can start driving in, I can still do stuff such as like arm drags, but I can use this to work off into like 2-on-1 grips, I can use this to start climbing towards the back, I can do that to start creating space and then maybe make the space where I can draw a weapon, whatever the case may be. And then again, vice versa, if Cash gets his hands on me, whatever, he starts grabbing me, keeping me, from doing anything, I have to be able to either break the grips or re-grip and get control, and then again, we start kind of fighting and regain control of the entire all clinch type situation. Now, this portion of it is just one aspect of grip fighting. The other portion is I have to control the headspace, and this goes twofold. Either I'm utilizing my own head to physically control the space, which means I'm getting his head to turn the other way. If I can control the headspace with my headspace, even if I don't have the best hand control and maybe he's got grips, right, I can still use that head control to keep him from really gaining any space off of this, and that will buy me time to start working grips of my own. Or if I am in a good position, maybe he starts driving his head back in, I can physically post and push his head away. And again, if he continues to try and drive into me, it's going to make it very difficult for him to do so because I have the head control. Whereas if he has the head control, again, even though I've got a grip, if he's driving into me, it's going to be very difficult for me to be able to do anything. So that's the second component of this. Last but not least, I have to have good posture, right? I don't want to be standing up tall. If we're engaging at any point, the moment I go hands-on with somebody, or if I'm starting to work like body locks or anything, I want to be in a good like wrestler stance, right? I want my hips down, I want my hips out, I want that head posture. I put all the pieces of the puzzle together, so as he starts resisting, trying to fight back for control, I'm in a good postured stance. I've got power in my hips, I've got the head space controlled, I've got the grips controlled, and again, we can go from there. Every jiu-jitsu match starts off like that. You need to be able to train those components so that I can translate that directly to self-defense. And again, especially if he starts like grabbing for a weapon, I can immediately look to get hands-on. I'm able to control his grips. If he's trying to fight his hand free to get that weapon, I'm able to, again, manipulate, turn his body, take him down, whatever it is I need to do, because I've got grip control. The second component of jiu-jitsu for self-defense, takedown defense, right? Obviously, I should know how to take somebody down, but if we are talking street fights, our goal, or the 2 goals that we should have whenever we're in a street fight, is I want to stay standing and I want to stay conscious. I really don't want to take a fight to the ground, even if I'm experienced there. It's just a bad place to be. Now, if I have to, obviously, yes, I should have takedowns and I should be able to hit them, but more importantly, if I'm in a situation, maybe I start throwing punches, I'm trying to keep this person at bay, and all of a sudden they change levels and it's go for a tackle or a double leg, right? If I don't know what to do from this position and he takes me down to the ground, I'm in a really bad spot. I'm not in a good place to be. And again, even if I have jiu-jitsu experience, I want to stay standing. So I have to have good takedown defense. Number 1 aspect of that is I got to be able to get heavy on my hips right away. The moment he crashes into me, I need to be able to start kind of basing out rather than just getting my hips sucked in and just completely suplex onto the ground. Number 2, I need to start fighting for underhooks of some sort. This is just one option that we have if we're going for this specific type of takedown, right? He's blast doubling me. I need to start trying to fight for underhooks of some sort so that as he continues to drive and pressure into me, I can use these underhooks to head pressure in. I can use these underhooks to start, again, kind of creating that space, which feeds back into the grip fighting component a little bit. I can still work on getting head control, and then from here, maybe I can start kind of creating a space where I can either throw strikes of my own, or ultimately I can just completely disengage and get some space in between us. If the underhooks doesn't work, then yes, I need to be able to kind of sprawl out a little bit. If he's really driving into me, I should know how to sprawl. This is probably one of the best takedown defenses that you should know. And then from here, I got tons of options. I can do attacks from the front. I can post off the head and work back up to my feet. I can work all the way around to the back, apply damage if I need to. Again, the options are endless, but I have to be able to sprawl in the first place. So takedown defense, the ability for me to remain standing, is a huge component for self-defense. And again, something that we learned day 1 in jiu-jitsu. Now, the third component is the ability to escape when you are on bottom mount. So again, I end up on the ground. Maybe I didn't have the takedown defense I wanted to. He dominated the grips, and he ends up on top. Now, yes, I understand we could have side control, we could have guard, back takes, all that stuff. There's tons of positions. However, watch a street fight, 99% of the time, somebody's on top, they get to a mount position, and they just start wailing punches, wailing strikes. This is probably one of the worst positions to be in my shoes, if I am in a street fight, because I'm under him, he's hitting me, and there's a good chance that there's other people around that are going to come in. So I have to be able to kind of get out of this position. Now, my ultimate goal, obviously, yes, I need to start protecting myself. I'm not going to be able to stay here forever, right? So an option that we have from here, I'm going to post my feet. I'm going to bump my hips, get them to start posting. At this point, right away, we're going to work. Now, if his hands are really high up, we have a couple options. I can either post directly behind his armpits, and as he starts trying to reposition himself, I can kind of redirect his energy and weight somewhere else. And as he's doing that, I'm also going to start working my hips out, start framing, and ultimately I'm working to either get back to somewhat of an open guard or ultimately all the way back up to my feet. The other option that we have from here, once he's kind of, again, post high, is I'm going to go 2 hands on one hip, not both, focus on one. Again, as I start bumping and pushing my hips, I'm driving his hip away from me, ultimately looking again to get my feet free. I can start throwing kicks, and we slowly work back up to our feet. If for whatever reason he posts nearby and I'm either able to trap his arm this way or loop all the way around and trap his arm, that's a great option because he can't post anymore. I can also trap his foot if it's nearby. We bump, we roll, we get on top, I start applying the damage, and ultimately I work back up to my feet. So yes, if we end up on the back, I need to have that capability. Tactical stand-ups is one thing. I need to have the ability to actually get out from that bad position. I may not even be able to get back up to my feet right away. I might be stuck on my back here, and I can fight and throw kicks and whatever I need to do, but at least I need to be able to get back from this position because I can still apply damage. I can still draw if I have a firearm, and then ultimately I can work back up to my feet. But if I don't know how to get out of that bottom mount position, well, you're gonna be screwed. The fourth component is the ability to sweep. Now, if I end up on the ground, again, we escape from like a mount position per se, but this person's still over the top of you, or let's say maybe I tripped, fell during the fight, they shove me down. Again, I need to be able to get back up to my feet. However, even if he's backed off a little bit, if I just start working up, there's still a good chance he's gonna close that distance. So ideally, I wanna be able to stay here in a good kind of open guard position, throw the damage I need to do, but if he starts really kind of smothering that space a little bit, I need to be able to sweep. And again, a couple simple sweeps that we have. If he's kind of straddling my legs like this, I can block whatever strikes he's throwing, but the moment I'm ready to hit the sweep, I'm going to switch to grab his ankles. As I start kind of flexing my knees out to the side, I just get him to sweep, and again, the moment he is swept, I use that momentum to come up. I either go all the way up to my feet, or I look to pass, and then I return the favor because he doesn't know how to do sweeps, and I just beat the crap out of him. Other options that we have is if he's pressuring into me and I've got my legs up on his hips like this, again, maybe I was throwing kicks and he just kind of hips in a little bit and he gets a little too high for me to throw kicks. Again, I can still switch. I can push off his hips like this, or if he was really pressuring in, I can invert my knees. Either way, they both work. I'm going to hip again, take him down. From there, we immediately work back up to our feet. So again, the ability to sweep is what's going to allow us that safe time and period to where I can get back to my feet quickly, safely, again, create space, or if I need to subdue him, I can do the damage, whatever we want to do from there. Now, if we are talking about controlling somebody in a fight, let's say I don't have a choice, I have to hold them down or control them until help arrives or until somebody else jumps in. Do we go for joint locks or do we go for chokes? Now, in my opinion, chokes are the better option. That's going to lead us to our fifth component, right? Joint locks depend on pain compliance. If this person's high out of their minds, drunk as whatever, they're not going to feel the pain, or they just have a really high pain tolerance and they're not going to really feel if I snap their arm bar, or, whatever the case is. And most of the time, joint locks as a whole kind of put me in a bad position to begin with. Sport, it's fine. Chokes, however, regardless of what this person's on, if I hit a choke properly, they're going to sleep. And again, I can usually stay in a safer position. So let's go based off like this sweep, right? Let's say I swept him, he falls to the ground, I work myself up, I pass, maybe I throw a couple strikes, and then immediately I look to kind of start covering him. Now let's just say for whatever reason he's really fighting, I got to hold him down. Maybe I switch up into like mount. An option that we have from here, like you would see if we were talking joint locks, you always see these guys coming up and teaching arm bars, right? Sure, I can rip this arm bar and break it, but I'm in a bad position. What I would rather do is stick to the choke idea. So we're gonna go here, I isolate an arm, I get my head next to him, and I can start applying a head and arm triangle choke and just put the guy to sleep. Again, until help arrives. If he was turned into like a gift wrap position, right? I can still sit here and start applying different types of chokes to, again, get the person to go to sleep. If we go all the way back to, say, our takedown defense, right? He shoots in on the takedown, I get in here, maybe I'm able to stuff the takedown a little bit, and in the process, I'm able to lock in the guillotine. So now instead of him focusing on finishing the takedown, I'm able to sit here, put a guillotine on. If I hit this properly, I can put him to sleep. Or if I sprawl out and we get all the way down to this turtle position, again, I mentioned that I could attack from the front here. Same idea, I can sit here and lock up different chokes to at least put the person to sleep or subdue them, control them, whatever I need to do. Yes, if I squeeze on a choke past the point of them being unconscious, I can apply some serious damage. However, if you are trained in chokes, you're going to know what that cutoff point is. You know how to apply them properly. And again, regardless of what this dude is on or whatever his toughness level is, the body's still gonna shut down from a choke. So there you have it, what I believe to be the 5 best components of jiu-jitsu that translate directly to self-defense. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Stay safe.